It's a long journey and a long story too. So let me try and not what do you say, dwell on it too long. But I've been an entrepreneur for a few decades now, and I started my career selling computers. So about 2, 3 decades ago, when I started selling computers, computers were seen as you know a device that was actually making people lose jobs. And every time I sold a computer, there was also a little bit of guilt that someone is going to lose their job. But at the same time, computers have created a lot of jobs, created a lot of opportunities, and I find the automobile industry in a similar situation. People are afraid of job losses, and that's a fact. But there is also going to be a lot more opportunities than what the existing industry had. Um, you know, so this is from an industry perspective. But personally, why did I get into this? That's of course. I mean, there are too many dots to connect and tell you right now. But one was I when you look around and you see people traveling and you see people traveling in a bit of inhuman conditions, I kind of felt that something needed to be done about it, especially for last mile transportation. Today, there are a lot of women folk who are also getting into the job market, and they are also cramped into vehicles that are not very conducive for them to travel in. And I also realized that public transportation is not going to be adequate. Public transport is going to take its own time, and at the same time, there were a lot of I would say small-time entrepreneurs who saw this opportunity and started creating vehicles for this segment. So we had a lot of these share autos that were coming up, built in small factories, which looked very dangerous.
Yes.
But they were at the same time quite sturdy. I didn't see too many accidents happening with people traveling in it, except that instead of a vehicle built for might be 6 or 8 passengers, they were about at least about 12 passengers in it. So I started off by thinking about with EVs, there might be an opportunity to design a vehicle that will be more comfortable and affordable for this particular segment. And I thought, if these vehicles can be built in small, by small enterprises in a bit of unorganized fashion, without thought going into engineering or design, I thought maybe I would be able to quickly come up with a vehicle for this segment. And that got me into this particular space. So for me, I've always been focused on the affordable last mile mobility because I felt that's a big segment that is growing, but is not being catered to by the organized sector. Of course, over the years, the Tatas and the Mahindras came out with 8-seater vehicle, the Tata Magic and the Mahindra vehicle. But again, if you look at them, they were not really very well designed or comfortable or catering to all segments of the society. So the choice was between an auto rickshaw ride, between a bus ride, and between a share auto ride, and or a taxi ride. But a taxi ride is not affordable for everyone. So I was looking at a segment that would like to go in a taxi but can't afford it, and but are traveling in these shared autos and electric rickshaws. Electric rickshaw is also something that I really appreciate. That it is what you say. It's been a groundswell. About 1.5 million electric rickshaws today are offering affordable transportation. But what's a little bit concerning is the design of the vehicle. I mean, right from an aesthetics perspective to, of course, design and engineering. And I felt that, if we want to be seen as a developed country, then our transportation also needs to be well designed. And today, if you look at it from globally, there are Western countries that are also designing such vehicles, but they bring in a good design element into it. I also traveled across the ASEAN region to see, what the needs are in this market. So the problems that we have in India are not only in India, it's also there in the ASEAN region. For example, we go to Philippines, you have the jeepneys. Now, jeepneys are again vehicles that are being built in small workshops using second-hand engines and bodies that are being built locally. All of them are now very highly polluting, and the government, there are over 100,000 of such jeepneys in Philippines that the government wants to convert to electric. But they are not able to find a suitable electric vehicle to replace these jeepneys. Likewise, if you go to Cambodia or Vietnam, you'll find a motorcycle with carriage on the side called trikes. So again, it's vehicles that are being developed and produced locally by small-time entrepreneurs. So a lot of engineering design, are not going into these vehicles. Likewise, of course, in Thailand, you have the tuk-tuks, which are similar to our auto rickshaws in India. So all over the developing world, you'll find that there is a need for last-mile transport, for affordable last-mile transport, but there are no suitable vehicles for it. So, but if you look at the ride-hailing companies, the Ola and the Uber and the Grab over here, or the Gojek in this region, they all started offering ride share, but all of them are using the same passenger car for ride sharing, which is not very conducive. It's not also able to provide the right economics. I also looked at the ride-hailing business and why they are not very profitable. So there are, two parts to it. One is the consumer is not willing to pay a higher fare for a ride. And two, the fares at which the consumer is willing to pay for a ride, it's not economical. And the main reason why it's not economical is that they don't have a right vehicle for their business. So the ride-hailing business or the taxi business, unfortunately, there are no manufacturers catering to it. The only vehicle that has been designed for the taxi business is the London Black Cab. And now they have also electrified the London Black Cab. But that's for the developed world. So I found that there is a big opportunity, unmet demand. And I felt that with good engineering and good design, we would be able to bring out a vehicle that is affordable, comfortable, and eco-friendly in the market. So that's where I started with. But I also knew that there are many issues for this particular segment, and might be if you want, I can then get into the pain points which we are trying to address.